Enterprise Management 360.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Tech Chat. We are here at Infosec Europe, and I'm very excited to see what we've got going on. But first of all, I have Marco joining me, who's our cybersecurity client manager. Marco, how are you today? What are you looking forward to most?
Hi, Max. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited. I think Infosecurity Europe will be an amazing event. We have both some known household names as well as some new up-and-coming names. I'm excited that we will have an opportunity to talk to the vendors and see firsthand and hear about their new solutions, how they're keeping up with the new challenges in the market. And yeah, overall, I'm very excited.
Yeah, same here. I've got some interviews coming up. I know you're going to have a walk around and see what you can learn. So let's get started with our first set of interviews. Thank you for joining me. I'm here with Clive and I'm here with Paul. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. We're here at the Symantec stage. One aspect that kind of gets explored a lot is when it comes to machine learning and AI. Is there any way that that can benefit IoT devices, making them more secure, stop the shortfalls that we're seeing?
Yeah, so on a consumer basis, we've been in talks with some ISPs in the past where we're actually looking to use algorithms to profile home networks.
Right.
So if you think about the type of traffic that leaves a home network, the home routers are typically quite dumb devices because they're low value again, and the home consumers don't need them to be intelligent devices like an enterprise would. But what we're seeing is if the ISP have the ability to actually profile what data's leaving a user, and it'd be very nice, and it'd be a bit of a differentiator for ISPs if they were to report back to the user that things are happening on their network which shouldn't be, which could look at like traffic which is a compromised machine calling back to a known command and control server, or if potentially people are calling into the home network via devices that have default passwords to then access other devices in the network. But theoretically, ISPs have all that ability to look at that traffic. Right. So it'd be quite nice if they were more proactive and use that as a way to competitively differentiate themselves to win more market share from consumers.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Clive, do you see any other kind of benefits from this?
I'd add to that. It is all about machine learning. It is all about actually looking at their network activity, looking at what the devices are doing and profiling them. So, we have within Symantec as well spent a lot of time in our research labs looking at our authoritative data lake and the telemetry we do get back from security devices, and we're often finding that that's some of the best ways is to use machine learning to understand a footprint where we're already analysing and following attack groups themselves, and they're using all sorts of ways to get into an organisation, so we can use the profiling of the methods, the network traffic that we're seeing to identify new attacks and new threats actually in IoT devices as well. So I think it's a nice way to understand the risks where you can't put a piece of software on a small piece of IoT.
Yeah. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I'm here with Ghazal at Cybereason. Now, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I just want to kind of pick your brains around a subject that's kind of hot at the moment. You know, it's women in enterprise tech, and more importantly, in cybersecurity. So, is there a case of there's just not enough opportunities available, and how can we kind of change that going forward?
Well, I think it's fair to say that there's a ton of opportunity for everyone. But to your point, even if you look around this exhibition, you don't see a ton of women. So what's going on? So I think there's like three core problems. Number one is the problem starts way before the workplace, where fewer women are picking STEM-based subjects. So if you've not picked a STEM-based subject, it's harder to go into a technical discipline. Right. The second thing is that outside of tech, there's lots of other disciplines within a cybersecurity company. You've got sales, you've got post-sales, you've got HR, you've got so many marketing. But because there's not a lot of role models, people don't even consider that within cybersecurity, outside of the technical function, there's a lot of other things I can do.
Yeah.
Then the third thing is that for the women that do come into cybersecurity, that are in the workplace, are we doing enough to nurture them, to grow them, and retain them within the workplace? A critical sort of moment that happens in a lot of women's life, it's not happened to me yet, but a lot of women's life is where you become a mother, and at that point you make a decision of, do I want to spend time at home or do I want to spend time in the workplace? And I feel like at that point a lot of women decide that they're going to prioritise family, and at that point, rightly so, because work doesn't give them that flexibility. And I think we have to look at each one of those three problems and then understand what can we do about it.
That's perfect. Well, hopefully we can see more in the future. So thanks so much for that. Thank you. Hello, I'm here with Andy at Centify. Andy, thank you so much for joining me. It's good to see you again. If you wouldn't mind just giving me a little background on yourself and Centify, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Andy Heather. I'm the Vice President and General Manager of Centify here in Europe. So we're a leader in the privileged access management space and a leader in zero trust privilege.
So I want to pick your brains a little bit around zero trust privilege. So how important is it for more organizations to adopt this, and what does it involve?
Sure. Well, the really good news first is that zero trust is really powering ahead right across Europe.
Right.
When I'm in various countries, I'm talking to leaders in industry, in the private sector and public sector, and the use of zero trust as an approach has certainly dramatically increased over the last couple of years. Now, that's really good news, but it doesn't come without its challenges, because we're just talking about the technology there. And one of the really important things to think about when you are looking to take a zero trust approach is to think about not just the technology, but also people and process as well.
Right.
And as we have this across Europe, you see different cultures will adopt this sort of technology, this approach, at a lesser or greater speed. Now, in some places like France, Germany, and the Netherlands, because of the strength of the workers' councils, there's some reluctance to how zero trust gets implemented in terms of perhaps thinking about monitoring the use of what those people are doing. So when you are looking and thinking about deploying and using a zero trust approach, it's really important in your early thinking, not just to think about the technology, but getting involved with the stakeholders and the individuals to make sure that they're fully bought into the process and what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side of that, also GDPR has been really, really important. That's driven a lot of activity in terms of organisations are much better placed today to know who's using the data, where the data is, the data flows within inside of those organisations. So they're much better placed to take a zero trust approach. Now, if you link that together with the speed in which organisations are moving to the cloud. Now, I saw some numbers recently to say that I think it's 54% of all organisations in Europe are deploying technology into the cloud, which is great. And that's up somewhere about 20% from where we were back in 2016. So the speed to the cloud is really important in helping drive this as well. So that's another really useful thing where you can deploy zero trust technologies.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today and explaining that to us. I really appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm here with Marcus at AT&T Security stand. Marcus, thank you so much for joining me today.
Max, thanks for having me here.
Really appreciate it. Just give me a little bit of background on yourself and AT&T in general here.
Happy to. Marcus Bragg, I head up our sales and marketing for AT&T Cybersecurity. As you can see, we got this wonderful booth here at Infosec 2019. And we're a great part of AT&T business, and we help companies focus on removing cyber threats from their organization.
That's what we're here for, exactly. I wanted to talk to you about the kind of benefits of threat sharing and where you're kind of seeing it heading in the future.
It's a great question, and it's so topical right now. Organizations themselves are going through a lot of digital transformation as they're either trying to increase revenue or reduce costs and be more profitable. And with that, that's created a whole new threat landscape for which they have to protect themselves. And one of the key challenges that they're facing is that the bad guys, all the cyber criminals out there, they've really upped their game. It's no longer the guy or the gal in the college dorm room with the hoodie on. These are professional cyber criminals, and they're using machine learning and artificial intelligence, and so we've got to take a new approach. And that's where AT&T Cybersecurity is helping a lot of companies. We really are focused on how do we deliver phenomenal threat intelligence. One of the key ways we do that, there's a company that we brought into the fold last year called Alien Vault, and we have what we call the Open Threat Exchange. And this is a great source to go out publicly. It's free for everyone. Over 100,000 practitioners out there that are sharing the latest threats from over 140 countries around the world. And this is how companies can really stay right on the forefront. And part of how we're sharing it out there publicly into the free market, because we need to collaborate together in order to protect our business.
No, that makes complete sense. It's all about unity and coming together and making sure that we can all work together to make the world a safer place. So thanks so much, Marcus. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on part 1 here at Infosec Europe. Make sure you come back here next week where we'll have part 2 with many more interviews and great insights on cybersecurity.